And here we have it. As I promised in my last video, this episode would be on what I believe to be Chicago's best song. And I'm gonna have to agree with Rick Beato on this one. That song is Saturday in the Park, which is the 7th track off of Chicago's 5th record titled Chicago 5, which was released in 1972. And like the last Chicago song I did, this one was also written by pianist Robert Lamm, and he also sings the lead vocals on this song, with supporting lead vocals from bassist Peter Cetera. Now, if you're a Chicago fan, I would assume that you would likely agree with what I'm about to say here. I believe that Peter Cetera is the better singer in the band, but I also believe that Robert Lamm has the better voice. And Saturday in the Park is a good example of his vocals. I mean, there's probably better vocal performances out there by Robert Lamm, such as the song Does Anybody Really Know What Time It Is from their debut record. But still, he has such a unique voice that sounds great on any song featuring him on lead vocals. And also, on top of that, Robert Lamm plays a great lead piano riff throughout Saturday in the Park, which is one of my all-time favorite piano riffs, and it really goes well with his voice. Now, why do I think this is Chicago's best song? To put it simply, it's an uplifting, feel-good song that you can listen to and appreciate in any mood, at any time, no matter where you are and what you're doing. The song gives a positive narrative on the human condition when observed in a natural setting where everyone's getting along and enjoying their time together on a beautiful day in the park. And, I mean, for the musical side of what makes it their best, well, we'll get to hear that in a little bit. So let's dive into what inspired this song. We'll go through the lyrics, and then we'll get to listen to Chicago's best song, in my opinion. According to an interview that Lamm did with Billboard magazine, one day he was looking at some footage that he recorded in Central Park a few years prior. And as he went through the footage, he wanted to tell a story of what he saw in Central Park that day. As Lamm puts it, it was really kind of that peace and love thing that just happened in Central Park and many parks all over the world, where people just relax and enjoy each other's presence, and the activities we observe and the feelings we get from feeling a part of a day like that. So now let's read through the lyrics. The verses and choruses follow a very basic pattern, but they really tell the whole story in just a few lines. The rest of the feeling you get from just listening to the music. So, as I said earlier, Robert Lamm sings lead vocals on this song with Peter Cetera supporting, and they both sing in great harmony here. So the first verse just goes, Saturday in the Park, I think it was the 4th of July. Saturday in the Park, I think it was the 4th of July. And then this last part here of the verse, I mean, Genius has it as being part of the verse, but I really see it as a pre-chorus because there's, it's different musically, and there's a key change that they play in there. But anyways, Peter Cetera leads off the pre-chorus, people dancing, people laughing, and then they both sing in harmony, a man selling ice cream, singing Italian songs. And then we get into the chorus, and Robert Lamm sings E compare, and then, however you pronounce that, I think it's Si vo sonare. Now, why don't I know how to pronounce it even though I've listened to the song so many times? Because he doesn't actually sing this. What he actually sings is E compare, I segnate, something like that. And what he's really singing there is Italian gibberish. I mean, apparently, I don't have the original LP that came out in 1972, but apparently the printed lyrics in that just have a question mark. And in musical books, music sheets on how to play the song, they just literally write sing gibberish, because he just kind of made up some words there. So he sings E compare insegnate, can you dig it? Cetera sings Yes I Can, and then Lamm sings And I've Been Waiting Such a Long Time for Saturday. And then when we get into the second verse, it goes, Another day in the park, I think it was the 4th of July. They repeat that, and then we get into the pre-chorus, Cetera leads off with people talking, really smiling, and they both sing A Man Playing Guitar and Singing for Us All. And as they sing A Man Playing Guitar, the whole band sings in harmony, play the song, play on. And then the next chorus, will you help him change the world? Can you dig it? Yes, I can. And I've been waiting such a long time for today. And then we get into a musical breakdown here as we go into the bridge, and they sing together, slow motion riders fly the colors of the day. A bronze man still can tell stories his own way. Listen, children, all is not lost, all is not lost, oh no, no. Now, I'm not going to get into exactly what these lines in the bridge mean because there's no real definite meaning here that we can take away, so I'll let you decide for yourself. Anyways, then we get into the third verse, and Peter Cetera and Robert Lamm are both now singing the full verse in harmony. Funny days in the park, every day's the 4th of July, and then they repeat that. And Genius has the lyrics wrong here. It's not sung by Robert Lamm, it's sung by Peter Cetera, and what he actually sings is people reaching, people touching. And then they both sing a real celebration waiting for us all. And then the last chorus, if you want it, really want it, can you dig it? Yes, I can, and I've been waiting such a long time for the day. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's the song. Alright, no more stalling. Let's listen to Chicago's best song. As I said earlier, once again, Robert Lamm is going to start us off here with a lead piano riff, and he'll play that main figure once, and then the bass enters and the drums enter. So let's hear that part. I just want to point out here that Peter Cetera is just laying it down. Just laying down a great bass melody here, with Danny Seraphine just playing a basic beat on the drums. Let's hear that melody on the bass once again, and then we'll hear the horns enter. And notice that the horns aren't really giving us a whole lot quite yet. They're just playing these quiet volume swells. And now we're about to hear the first verse. And the horns are going to be filling in some of the gaps here in the verse between the vocal lines. Let's hear the first verse. And what I love about what Robert Lamm does here in the first verse that is so subtle you can barely hear it, I would sing it for you, but I'm not a good singer. But the first time he says Saturday in the park, the first time he says park, he just kind of holds it. But the second time he sings it, he kind of rolls off of it. So I'm going to back it up, and we'll hear that again. Saturday in the park, I think it was the 4th of July. Alright, so if you notice it, great. If you didn't, it's alright. It's very subtle, but it's just one of those little things I pick up on that makes me appreciate it just a little more. Anyways, now we're about to start the first pre-chorus. And notice how you haven't heard any guitar yet. You would think that you might be hearing some shining playing from Terry Kath, but he's pretty quiet in the song. But as the first pre-chorus starts here, you can hear him on the guitar in the background. It's a little quiet, but he's kind of just raking his strings. Also, the horns are going to disappear for a little bit here to let the other instruments shine, and then they'll come back in pretty soon. People dancing, people laughing, a man selling ice cream, singing Italian. Alright, I want to pause it there now because we're about to be led into the first chorus. And Danny Seraphine just plays a nice simple drum fill that leads us into the chorus here, along with the horns coming back. So let's hear the first chorus now. Yes, I can, and I've been waiting such a long time for Saturday. So we just heard the first chorus, and then a little bit of an instrumental break there before we head into the second verse. And what I want to point out here in the first chorus is how they start off as a full band, but then Danny Seraphine pulls back on his drums, and he's kind of just rolling along on his hi-hat, letting the song breathe a little bit. So we'll hear that. Let's hear that part again.
Such a long time for Saturday.
And what I love during this instrumental break here is the horns are just allowed to, do their thing. They have their own spot in the song here where they can just play their own thing to fill in some space. And Danny Seraphine's just thumping along on his kick drum. So let's hear this part again, and then we'll head right into the second verse. Now, if you notice it here, great. But what we have in this verse that we don't have in the first verse is on the second time around when he sings Another Day in the Park, the background vocals are doing this kind of humming, quiet singing going along in the background, just kind of filling in a little space there, but just really adding some depth to the verse here. So let's hear the second verse again. Hate to cut it off there, but we're about to get into the second chorus here. And what I love during this part, it's kind of like this first chorus, but what we have here is just great big fusion band stuff here with the bass, the drums, and the horns that all just create this rich sound we're about to hear, and with Robert Lamb's vocals just being the icing on the cake.
Will you help him change the world? Can you dig it? Yes, I such a long time for today.
And now we're about to have a musical turnaround as we head into the bridge. Not much to say there. I'm just going to back it up a few seconds, and then we'll hear the transition into the bridge, and then we'll hear the bridge.
Long time for today. Slow motion riders fly the colors of the
And now we're pretty much just about to reach musical euphoria. We're about to arrive at musical nirvana, just from the vocal harmonies and the horn section here just blasting our ears full of just rich sound.
Listen, children, all is not lost, all is not lost, oh, no, no.
Okay, so now the bridge is over. We're about to head back for the last verse and chorus. And during this part here, just take a second to appreciate Peter Cetera just laying it down on his bass. Now, once again, we have something so subtle, but I think is so great here, is leading into the last verse. Peter Cetera walks down on his bass while the horns walk up. It's just kind of this like conflicting melody here, but it just sounds so great. So let's hear that again, and then let's get into the last verse.
Funny days in the park, every day's the 4th of July.
And as we saw earlier, this verse is being sung in harmony by Robert Lamb and Pierce Cetera. Man, do their vocals sound great together.
Funny days in the park. Every day's the 4th of July. People reaching, people touching. A real celebration. Waiting for a song. Waiting for a song. If we want it, really want it, can you dig it? Yes, I can. And I've been waiting such a long time for the day.
And that's the end of the last chorus. And now we're just going to have this nice outro played by the rest of the band. And I don't know how to put this into words, but it's like the whole band here is playing a kind of offbeat. They're playing offbeat from each other with like conflicting rhythms on the outro that kind of sounds odd to the ear, but it just, at the same time, it still sounds so cool. And that is Saturday in the Park by Chicago, what I believe to be Chicago's best song. I hope you agree with me. But if you don't agree with me that that's their best song, it's okay. It's just opinions. We don't have to agree on everything. But I still think you're wrong. Thanks for watching.